What if I told you this video was sent to you for a reason? Your life might change in the next 7 minutes. Maybe you arrived here thinking it was just another suggested video, but deep down, there's that strange feeling that this is no coincidence. At some level of your subconscious, something was already being prepared. Your mind feels tired, your heart restless, money seems to come and go without taking root, and scarcity insists on speaking to you every day. This is exactly where autosuggestion, mental programming, and faith start to compete for space within your identity. There's a powerful yet often overlooked point: what you repeat with emotion shapes your beliefs, adjusts your vibration, and sets the frequency at which your life operates. The Bible already warned us that words carry life and death, seed and harvest, and Proverbs 18:21 wasn't written by accident. What you declare, feel, and visualize before sleep enters your subconscious directly, creating spiritual alignment or reinforcing blocks that hinder financial flow. In this content, you'll discover how conscious language, applied faith, and principles taught both by Napoleon Hill and the Bible connect in a practical way. We're not talking about empty mysticism, but real reprogramming, based on repetition, emotion, and scientific autosuggestion. And when this combination occurs, something changes internally first, which then begins to unlock prosperity, provision, and financial abundance externally. Mental and spiritual alignment with prosperity begins when you realize that money doesn't respond to brute effort but to the frequency you maintain within. The subconscious functions like fertile soil; it constantly accepts seeds from words, emotions, and images you repeat. When there's a conflict between what you claim to believe and what you truly feel, mental programming shorts out. Prosperity demands coherence, not perfection. Many people try to unlock prosperity by only changing external strategies, yet they keep their identity tied to scarcity. It's like trying to harvest abundance while planting fear every day. Spiritual alignment happens when thought, emotion, and faith move in the same direction. When that happens, financial flow stops being a struggle and becomes a response. It's not about forcing money to come, it's about stopping the blockage of provision that already exists. In practice, this alignment starts with verbal vigilance and small conscious declarations throughout the day. Notice how you speak about money, opportunities, and yourself. Are your words creating life or reinforcing limits? A simple daily habit is choosing a short affirmation, repeated with emotion, before sleep and upon waking. This gesture adjusts your inner state and prepares the ground for the next natural step: applying faith in a practical, anxiety-free way. Applied faith is not disguised positive thinking, nor a pretty phrase tossed to the wind. It is spiritual alignment between what you believe, declare, and practice in your daily life. The Bible shows that faith without action becomes internal noise, and action without faith becomes exhaustion. When you understand this, you realize that provision and abundance are not random rewards; they are responses to a heart that is aligned, steady, and conscious. A powerful principle runs through the entire scripture: words are seeds. What you speak enters the subconscious, generates mental programming, and produces a harvest. Proverbs 18:21 makes it clear that life and death are in the power of the tongue, including money, prosperity, and financial flow. When your declarations arise from faith, they carry enough emotion and repetition to reorganize deep beliefs that once operated in scarcity. In practice, applied faith starts with simple and consistent gestures. Pray with awareness, align your words with what you ask for, and act as one who trusts, not begs. The Gospel of John reinforces that truth sets us free, including from mental patterns that block financial abundance. When faith becomes a daily habit, it prepares the ground for something essential: a mindset trained to cooperate with the unseen, rather than resist it. The mindset taught by Napoleon Hill begins with a simple yet uncomfortable truth: financial results don't happen by chance, they stem from a well-defined mental identity. For Hill, the subconscious does not respond to vague desires, it reacts to repetition charged with emotion. When the mind doesn't know exactly who you are and what you want, it becomes confused, and confusion generates scarcity. One of the pillars of this mindset is understanding that beliefs shape reality even before action. If you believe money is difficult, heavy, or always late, your mental programming works against you, even when you make an effort. Hill called this unconscious self-sabotage. But when faith joins conscious autosuggestion, the mind begins to cooperate, opening space for ideas, connections, and opportunities that previously went unnoticed. In practice, this mindset is built with simple and consistent habits. Daily reading of excerpts from Think and Grow Rich, writing clear declarations about identity and prosperity, and repeating affirmations with real feeling, not on autopilot. Hill emphasized that the brain learns through training, not isolated information. This training prepares the ground for something essential in the process, using imagination intentionally, turning desire into a vivid image, exactly what leads us to the next point. Guided sensory visualization is the moment when the mind stops just thinking about prosperity and starts experiencing it. For Napoleon Hill, imagination is the workshop where all wealth is first built. The subconscious cannot differentiate between what is real and what is intensely imagined with emotion. Therefore, when you see, feel, and live a scene internally, your mind records it as a possible outcome and begins working to achieve it. The secret lies in sensory details. Saying "I want to prosper" isn't enough. You need to see the scene, feel the emotion, hear the sounds, and perceive the environment. Imagine opening your banking app and seeing your balance grow, feeling relief in your body, breathing with ease. This practice activates vibrations and frequencies compatible with abundance, aligning word, emotion, and identity into the same internal command. To apply this, spend 3 to 5 minutes a day, preferably upon waking or before sleeping. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and mentally construct a short, simple, positive scene. Repeat the same image for several days, always with genuine emotion. Repetition creates familiarity, and familiarity generates belief. This technique prepares the ground for something even deeper, identifying and clearing old beliefs that block this new flow, even as visualization begins to work. As you start visualizing, something curious happens. Hidden old beliefs emerge. Phrases like "money is hard," "prosperity isn't for me," or "there's never enough" didn't appear out of nowhere. They were learned, repeated, and recorded in the subconscious over time. Napoleon Hill taught that these dominant ideas become mental programming that operates automatically until consciously replaced. This is where financial forgiveness comes in. Yes, forgiveness. Forgive past mistakes, poor choices, losses, debts, and even people who negatively influenced you. As long as guilt, anger, or shame are associated with money, vibration remains trapped in scarcity. The Bible reinforces this principle when it speaks of life and death and the power of the word, reminding us that releasing also creates space for provision to enter. In practice, start simple. Write phrases like "I forgive myself for past financial decisions," or "I release all beliefs that associate money with pain." Read them aloud, with emotion, for several days. This process clears your inner field and prepares your identity to receive something new. When internal space changes, external action also shifts naturally, without forced effort. This is exactly where inspired action enters, the small act that seems minor but changes everything. Once the mind begins aligning and beliefs are cleared, something almost silent yet powerful arises: inspired action. It's not heavy effort or aimless hustle. Napoleon Hill called it acting in harmony with the dominant idea. It's that small action you feel compelled to take, as if something inside whispers, "This is the way." Most people get stuck waiting for big signs or massive changes. But prosperity often responds to the smallest inevitable action: sending a message, studying a topic for 15 minutes, organizing an account, jotting down an idea, taking a step you previously postponed. When mental programming shifts, action stops being forced and becomes natural, almost obvious. You don't push life, you cooperate with it. To apply, ask yourself a simple daily question: what is the smallest action I can take today toward abundance? Trust the first answer that arises, without overthinking. Execute. That's it. This practice creates a powerful cycle. Action generates confidence, confidence reinforces identity, identity sustains new actions. And as this movement begins, something interesting happens. You start noticing signs, confirmations, and responses around you. Precisely the topic of the next section. Intelligent gratitude goes beyond a simple thank you for everything. It's a mental programming tool that teaches the subconscious to focus on what's working, even when it still seems small. Napoleon Hill emphasized that the mind grows in the direction it emotionally acknowledges. Practicing conscious gratitude shifts your internal frequency and signals abundance rather than scarcity. This is where the Signs Notebook comes in. It's not a regular journal, it's a record of confirmations. It could be small: an idea that emerged, unexpected money, a timely meeting, a problem resolved faster. Recording these signs strengthens positive beliefs and creates emotional evidence that the flow has already begun. The mind needs proof, and you consciously provide it. In practice, write down 3 things you're grateful for and 1 sign of progress every day, even if subtle. This aligns deeply with biblical principles, such as gratitude before provision, as taught in Scripture. This simple habit trains your eyes to see opportunities, and those who see more, receive more. But to maintain this new state, you must learn to shield yourself from energy-draining influences, which brings us to the next topic. Mental shielding is not isolating from the world, it's verbal and emotional vigilance. Once you start changing language, affirmations, and frequency, saboteurs appear: people, environments, and even automatic thoughts trying to pull you back to old patterns. Napoleon Hill called this collective negative influence external voices that, if unfiltered, reprogram your subconscious without permission. These saboteurs don't always come as direct criticism. Sometimes they appear as jokes, excessive news, repetitive conversations about crisis, scarcity, fear, or failure. Continuous exposure puts your mind in conflict. On one side, you affirm prosperity; on the other, you absorb contrary vibration. Shielding begins with simple choices: what you listen to, who you talk to, and which thoughts you nurture when alone. In practice, create a protection protocol. Before difficult conversations or heavy environments, mentally affirm: my mind is protected. I choose what enters and what stays. This isn't superstition, it's conscious spiritual alignment, deeply connected to biblical principles about guarding the heart. This shielding supports your new identity and prepares the ground for a powerful daily ritual, which will activate next. There's a time of day when the subconscious is fully exposed and receptive: the minutes before sleep. Napoleon Hill taught that everything repeated with emotion in this state enters directly as mental programming. This is where the 7-minute nightly ritual becomes a powerful tool for reprogramming, spiritual alignment, and activating prosperity. It works simply and practically. First minute: silence. No phone, news, or heavy conversation. Second and third minutes: slow, deep breathing, relaxing the body. Fourth and fifth minutes: conscious declarations, quietly or mentally, using the creator verb phrases like my mind is aligned with abundance, financial flow works in my favor, I am worthy of the provision reaching me. Emotion matters more than quantity. In the last 2 minutes, enter visualization. See yourself living with ease, organized accounts, money circulating, peace in your heart. Feel gratitude before it's even materialized. This closure seals the day's programming and delivers the command to your subconscious during sleep. The Bible reinforces this principle when it teaches that faith comes from hearing, even hearing your own words. This fertile ground prepares you to sustain real changes the next day, the topic of the final section. After the nightly ritual comes something essential: consistency. Real transformation doesn't happen in a single insight, but through conscious repetition over days. A 7-day plan works as a transition portal, where you exit autopilot and enter a new mental, emotional, and spiritual rhythm. It's not pressure, it's direction. It gives the subconscious enough time to accept a new identity as normal. On days 1 and 2, focus on verbal vigilance. Observe everything you say about money, life, and the future. Don't try to change everything yet, just notice. On days 3 and 4, start consciously replacing limiting phrases with abundance-aligned declarations. Use simple, short, heartfelt affirmations. On days 5 and 6, intensify visualization and nightly ritual, reinforcing emotion and gratitude. On day 7, review what has changed: thoughts, words, actions, subtle signs. The secret of this plan isn't perfection, it's presence. Even if you slip on a day, continue. Each repetition creates ballast, each small victory strengthens new mental programming. Napoleon Hill said persistence transforms the invisible into the inevitable. This plan doesn't conclude anything, it inaugurates a new cycle, where prosperity stops being a distant desire and becomes a conscious path. Now that you've made it this far, let me ask you an honest question: what will change starting today? Knowledge without application becomes just pretty information. You've understood that your words are not neutral, that your subconscious is always listening, and that every declaration carries emotion, vibration, and direction. You've seen the invisible link between what you speak, feel, and live. The question is, will you keep speaking on autopilot, or will you take control of the creator verb? Along this journey, it's clear that prosperity doesn't start with money, it starts with identity. It begins when you decide to align faith, language, and action. Napoleon Hill taught that a defined desire, repeated with emotion, becomes an impossible tournure force. And the Bible confirms that life and death are in the power of the tongue. This means every day, you're choosing what to plant and inevitably, what you will harvest. So I invite you to do something simple but powerful starting today: watch your words. Turn your affirmations into a daily habit. Use the nightly ritual. Practice the 7-day plan. And when you slip, because it happens, return with kindness and awareness. Prosperity doesn't respond to perfection, it responds to consistency. If this content spoke to you, don't let this message die here. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and walk with us on this journey of reprogramming, applied faith, and conscious wealth. The next word you speak could be the very seed that changes everything.